Hey there, GovTech Social. This is Anil Chawla with Archive Social and the GovTech Social podcast. Back at it in April, just a few days after the government social media conference ending in Reno. Yet another great conference this year. I've invited my friend Dustin Heisler from eRepublic to talk about the conference. Hey, Dustin.
Hey, Anil. Good to see you again. It's been so long.
It has been a while, Dustin. I know that we had to have the weekend away from each other, but now it's time to collect our thoughts and share some of our learnings from the conference. And where I'd like to focus, Dustin, is on this issue of social media going sideways. I think you know what I mean by that. Why don't we share with our audience what I mean? From my perspective, there were a lot of sessions at the conference that talked about the communications challenge that erupts when something effectively goes viral on your social media or a local incident is something that you have to communicate about that's difficult. Examples that I heard about were largely in crisis situations around natural disasters or mass shootings. What kind of situations did you hear about at the conference?
I mean, I really heard that anything today constitutes a crisis. And I think as we have talked in our previous videos, you know, it could be an elected official that posts something. It could be someone that posts a photo on a city's Facebook page that just creates this eruption online. And so it was really interesting to hear at GSMCon how this is something that many agencies are starting to experience on a more regular basis. And it was really fascinating.
Well, some of the speakers there put on sessions exactly about these topics, even dealing with trolls and criticism that you might receive. Why don't we do a quick rapid fire of a few tips that we both took away from the conference? The first and foremost for me is to respond and react as soon as you can. This is customer service 101. Generally, in these crisis situations, the audience online will turn to your agency asking you what you're doing about it, and oftentimes not happy because something bad's happening and they're criticizing you. So you want to be very responsive. You want to say, look, we're here to help you. We may be collecting the details still. Stay tuned. Get some message back out there as soon as you can, and then, of course, frequently update to keep the audience informed. We've seen that when this has happened, that's the best way to get the audience on your side and actually have a productive outcome.
That's a great point. Number two would be to coordinate your responses. So most of the time cities have multiple Facebook pages, multiple social media accounts. So make sure that your message is consistent across all of those. And so if you have different people that are managing different accounts, make sure that they're putting out consistent information to prevent any confusion from the public.
You know, just on the topic of consistency, that's something that has to be designed up front, that you have to be prepared for. Did you hear any tips on how to proactively be ready so that you are consistent when that situation arises?
Yeah, absolutely. There were a lot of people like Christy White in San Marcos, Texas, that were creating messaging before actual events took place. So that way people had information to post and you had different language that was already pre-approved that could go out in the event of social going sideways.
Great tactic. On the note of messaging, there's messaging that you can prepare and be ready for that generically makes sense. And then there's reacting dynamically as you have to react as things are coming out. One of the challenges that we heard about was that you may have your own message, but then other people have messages too. Oftentimes the media is trying to share information and there may be misinformation. One of the best tips that I heard about was setting up a rumor page. It makes a lot of sense for any situation that's going to last a while or has led to a lot of confusion. Create a page that lays out all of the information, the rumors, the misinformation, and then puts the official stance on it so you can direct folks to those pages from your social media. Okay, that one more tip from you, Dustin, to wrap us up here.
The last tip is to over communicate. So, you know, normally we're trying to find the magic number of posts to put out so that Facebook will show our post to our audience. But in the event of social going sideways, there is no over amount of information that you can share. So make sure that you are saturating your audience with as much information as you can humanly share to make sure that no one is left out and that everyone has an opportunity to see what you're posting.
Perfect way to wrap it up. It is, after all about communication. That's why we're on social media in the first place. And on that notion of what you can do to prepare, there's policy, there's training, there's what you can do as human beings, but there's also technology that can help you. And I want to introduce our audience here to a new initiative that will hopefully help out a lot of agencies who are experiencing this crisis situation. Again, a crisis could be something severe in the real world, like a natural disaster or a shooting, but it could also be something virtual that just blows up on your social media, challenges your communications team. Things can go viral unexpectedly for any reason. And so if you're in that situation, what you want to do, again, as we've said here today, is communicate as much as you can across social media. At the same time, there's a lot of risk because of the communications being really fresh. They're not vetted. You've got to respond. There's people that are upset. And so there is technology that can help you. I want to introduce you to something called Archive Social Crisis Support. You can learn about it at govcrisis.social, but effectively this is technology that will give you free record keeping for a limited amount of time to ensure that you're protected from the public records requests or litigation that might arise. It's something that's really important that we've heard about. We want to get that technology in your hands. If you're in crisis, protect your agency so that you're best able to use social media to inform and protect the public. Check that out. Let me know if you have any questions. And to wrap up, Dustin, as we look ahead to future columns and topics, what would you ask the audience?
I think it'd be great to actually talk about what the audience is experiencing. So you audience, if there's an issue or if there's some type of challenge that you would like us to discuss in next month's column, feel free to post it in the comment section below or shoot us an email and we'll tackle it next month.
We appreciate all of the input from you. We look forward to seeing it come in and talking about it next month. Thank you all.